Hi, I'm Dee Holloway, and I'd like to read you a selection from my novella, Little Nothing. It was market day, and Johnny had bled through her best shirt. She hissed as I drew the shirt over her head, turning slightly so that I could see the gash running cockeyed over her ribs. There was a bandage on it, but whoever had put it on had done a poor job. She swore when I touched the edge, where blood welled beneath the cloth. Well, if you'd just let me do it in the first place. My fingers were gentler than my words. I unwound the stained cotton from her side and dropped it on the hay scattered in the back of the wagon. Who tied this up, Kiki? Somebody else with hooves instead of hands? Bess, she said, almost a whine. I kissed her cheek to keep her distracted while I swabbed the wound with water from a flask Ma passed me. Lord of mercy, this couldn't have waited? Waited till what? You fainted right off the cart here? You already ruined your nice shirt. I folded the aforementioned shirt twice and pressed it to her side so that part of it covered her chest and part of it the gash. Here, hold this. Press it down hard. I know how to dress a wound, she muttered, but she did what I said. I heard Pa snicker above our wagon horse's hoofbeats. What am I supposed to wear then, Miss Fix-It? I didn't have an answer for that, though we'd need to come up with something and right quick. The market town that served Sawgrass was but 15 miles north, and we were nearly there. She couldn't go sauntering through the stalls and tip her hat to the church ladies with her bosoms out to the world. I was the only lucky soul who got to admire those bosoms. But we had more urgent matters just then, because if the bite in her side wasn't seen to, she wouldn't be sauntering anywhere at all. Not to mention, Johnny would think it a poor display of her expertise if word went around that the limerunners she trained up so nice were still liable to bite, her or anyone else. Who gave you this anyway? The sound of my voice would act as an anchor, and the question would force her mind to focus. I glanced at the boy trotting behind the wagon on his placid marsh tacky, mounted to the side of the 6 limerunners following us in a string to market. The solid ponies were better at herding half-broke limeys than any dog. That nasty blue-eyed one there? I'll bet it was him. Not him, Bess. Aaron, Pa's horseboy, piped from my left. He winked his own blue eyes, one and then the other, and lifted his hat toward the limey my joke had been aimed at. A single icy eye glared out of a white blaze, scarring the colt's otherwise inky coat. She was out for a light in Sanctus River to catch a few more. Is that right? I said, not at all a question, and tugged the linen strip in my hand just a little tighter than necessary. It wound around Johnny's ribs once and again, tucked beneath itself in intervals to form a basic plait. Her heart thudded under my palm, too fast and fluttering. And how'd that go for you, Johnny? She didn't answer, just pressed her lips together and stared high at the clear sky above us. We'd planned to ride to market with 6 half-broke limeys, and so we'd proceeded, which meant that she hadn't managed to catch any extra. Kiki, the trained beast trotting in her own string, belonged to Johnny and would never be sold. 6 were what she and Pa had agreed on with a few people looking to buy, and so why she'd needed to go out and try to haul in a couple more. I pictured it. Johnny in the shallows of the river, water to her hips, and stock still in the gray dawn. No one knew why dawn and dusk were the best time for catching limeys, no more than we knew why the fish bit during a downpour. Folk understood little better how their lives went. The mysterious way they spawned in Florida's brackish wetlands like tadpoles, then clambered to land like frogs. They could swim like gators and trot like any old pony. They were hard to track on dirt and near impossible in the water. All their lives the water called to them, seeped from them, turned their gaits fluid and their eyes cloudy. Their hides retained a slickness, their snake necks a glimmer of gills no longer quite used for breath. Their bones lay close to their skins like the limestone from which they rose. The strangeness of them prompted most folk to call them the devil's own steeds, and lured a few, like Johnny, close enough to bite. I'd seen her rope the vicious water horses and drag them ashore, and I'd seen them bolt for deep water or the dense undergrowth of mangroves and marsh before she could lay hands on them. I'd seen a human body and a limey collide more times than I cared to.